On this show of the ZTV Sports Report, we'll have highlights from women's volleyball team and recap the women's soccer team's regular season.
We'll also have highlights from the last regular season home game from the men's soccer team, along with football highlights.
Stay tuned because the ZTV Sports Report starts right now.
Welcome back to the ZTV Sports Report, your home for everything Akron Zips athletics. I'm John Alfieri.
And I'm Tyler Gunter. John, let's jump right in and recap how the women's volleyball team has been doing.
The women's volleyball team ended their 4-game losing streak on October 4th, winning 3 straight sets against Buffalo.
The Zips went on to face Toledo at home and battled to win the match in 5 sets. They then lost 2 straight games against Northern Illinois and Western Michigan, only getting to 3 sets in both those matches.
The Zips ended this losing streak once again with an away game against Central Michigan. They then returned home and lost to Eastern Michigan in 3 straight sets.
Akron traveled to face Bowling Green and Miami before returning home on November 2nd to play Ohio University. With the game highlights, here is Ian Runninger.
Your Akron Zips hosted the Ohio Bobcats on Friday, November 2nd at James A. Rhodes Arena. The Bobcats are 11-14 coming into this game, while Akron was 11-12. Akron is in the middle of a losing streak and needed something to get them back on their feet. The Zips and Bobcats started the first set alternating points. Akron managed to pull ahead and take an 8-7 lead, but quickly lost that lead when the Bobcats scored 5 unanswered points. Akron had some critical plays by number 6 Kayla Gwads that resulted in some points needed for the team in the first set. Akron had 13 kills, 5 errors, and 36 total attempts, and hit percentages of .222. While Ohio had 14 kills, 3 errors, and 29 total attempts, with their hit percentage equaling .379. The Zips lost the first set to the Bobcats 25-18, but they weren't phased at all and were looking to bring it back in the second set. Ohio started the second set with a point, but through the series of plays, Akron started to show some grit and took an early lead. With kills from Gwads, Wiegand, and Okea, the Zips were up 7-3. Akron proceeded to gain points with having the biggest difference between the teams at 12 points. The Zips had players number 19, Okea Tiegan, and number 4, Elia Karsner, were key players in the second set. Ohio had 6 kills, 7 errors, and 29 total attempts, and hit percentages of negative .034, while Akron had 11 kills, 4 errors, and 28 attempts, with a hit percentage of .250. The Zips won the set 25-14 and felt driven going into set number 3. The Zips were looking to capitalize off of their last set and were eager to start the next. Set number 3 started off with the two teams trading points, keeping the game even. Ohio scored 9 unanswered points to take a 19-7 lead, and the Zips would seem like they were coming back but never got close than 10 points to the Bobcats. Kayla Gwads and Elia Karsner again were key players in the third set. Akron had a total of 8 kills, 5 errors, and 33 attempts, with hit percentage of .263. Ohio had 16 kills, only 2 errors, and 30 attempts, with a hit percentage of .319. Ohio won the set 25-11. Akron wasn't ready to give up quite yet and was looking to take the Bobcats to set 5. Even though Ohio started the fourth set strong with a 10-4 lead over Akron, the Zips eventually brought it back to tie the set 17-17. The two teams traded points until the Zips would lead 24-23. Akron had 14 kills, 4 errors, and 38 attempts, and Ohio had 21 kills, 6 errors, and 47 attempts. There was also 2 challenges in the fourth set, both resulting in nothing. Ohio came back and took the last 3 points to win the set 26-24.
On Sunday, October 21st, the Zips women's soccer team played the University of Toledo for their last home game of the season. Sydney Worthy scored the Zips' only goal of the night, but that was all they needed as they gained a huge victory over the defending MAC tournament champions.
With this win, the Zips won 3 straight games in MAC play for the first time since the 2010 season.
Freshman goalkeeper Erin McKinney was named the MAC Defensive Player of the Week on October 23rd. She was also named Summa Health Student Athlete of the Week by Zips Athletics.
The Zips then traveled to the University of Buffalo to play their final game of the regular season with the postseason on the line. They defeated Buffalo 3-2 on Thursday, October 25th, and are heading to the postseason. Congrats, ladies.
Let's go into our first break, and when we return, we'll have all the highlights from the men's soccer season.
Welcome back. The men's soccer team traveled to Northern Illinois on Saturday, October 20th after their victory against Creighton.
Colin Berrios scored his second goal of the season for the Zips, but this was not enough to defeat the Huskies. Akron lost yet another game in the MAC division, losing 1-2.
On October 23rd, the Zips were supposed to play Notre Dame, but this game was canceled due to scheduling conflicts because of Hurricane Florence.
The Zips continued on the road to face SIU Edwardsville before returning home for their last game of the regular season on Saturday, November 3rd.
However, this game was canceled due to power issues and will not be made up. Reporter Rob Jaginer has the recap of the men's soccer 2018 final regular season.
The University of Akron men's soccer team has brought their regular season to a close. After their success-filled 2017 season, the Zips would have not had the same outcome as people would have expected. The Zips had a very turbulent season, finding great deals of success as well as tough losses in key matchups. The Zips started their season with a trio of exhibition matches against Indiana, Denver, and Cleveland State. They would draw against Denver, as well as a tough Indiana team, and would mark a win against Cleveland State. The first 3 home games would show the ambitions of a team that are hungry for another national championship. Squaring off against number 9 Butler, number 17 NC State, and Pittsburgh, the Zips would face a high level of competition. The Zips would draw against Butler in double overtime, lose to NC State 2-0, and would beat Pitt 1-0. Akron would then travel to 2 more nationally ranked opponents, squaring off against number 24 Seattle, and then off to number 9 Washington. They would unfortunately lose both of these matches. After the tough losses on the road, the Zips would return home to square off against North Carolina. However, due to Hurricane Florence, which tore into the Carolinas a week before the match, the Zips' schedule was altered, and they played host to the Canisius Golden Griffins instead. Akron would take out their frustrations on the Griffins, posting a shutout as well as scoring a staggering 10 goals on Canisius. The 10-0 win over Canisius would spark a fire in the Zips, and they would travel to face Grand Canyon University as well as VCU. They would win both of these games. After the successful road trip, the Zips would stop back home for one game against Syracuse. However, the momentum stopped for the Zips, and they would fall to the Orange 3-1. The Zips would then head to Bowling Green, which would be the first conference matchup of the season. The Zips and the Falcons would end the match in a draw with no score on either side. Heading out of Bowling Green, the Zips would once again be faced with a nationally ranked opponent. This would come from number 8 Michigan State, who despite their best efforts would fall to the Zips 2-1. Coming back to Akron with a huge win under their belt, the Zips would face conference opponent West Virginia. However, the Zips would not be able to overcome the Mountaineers and would fall 2-1 in overtime. The last 3 games of the regular season would consist of number 8 Creighton at home and then traveling to face conference opponents Northern Illinois and SIU Edwardsville. The Zips would post wins against Creighton and SIU, but would fall to Northern Illinois. The Zips were also scheduled to face Notre Dame and Western Michigan, but uncontrollable factors would cause both of these games to be canceled. The Zips would end the regular season with a record of 7-6-2 and a conference record of 1-2-1. The Zips would score 26 goals for the season, and they allowed 19 to be scored against them. As a team, the Zips also had 29 assists, and the keepers would post 42 saves and 6 shutouts on the season. Team leaders would be sophomore David Egbo, who had 9 goals on the season, 4 of which were game winners. Junior Marcel Zajac, who had a team high of 6 assists, and senior keeper Ben Lund, who had 37 saves and 13 appearances in goal. The Zips will be sending off 6 seniors in the offseason. Ben Lund, Izana Kase, Morgan Hackworth, Marco Micheletto, Joe Korb, and Abdi Muhammad will be graduating and will pursue the next step in their lives. On behalf of the ZTV Sports Report, I would like to say thank you to these seniors and wish you the best of luck wherever your roads lead you. Despite the turbulent season, the Zips would be able to work their way into the MAC tournament. They are set to square off against SIU Edwardsville at home on November 6th at 4 p.m. Good luck in the tournament, Akron.
The Zips men's soccer team did not finish the season how soccer fans would have expected. Hopefully for next season, the Zips can figure it out and turn things around.
Let's take our final break of the show. When we return, we'll have all the latest football highlights. Stay tuned.
Welcome back. Akron had their exciting win over Kent State in overtime on October 20th, and we're looking to keep the win streak alive entering the night against Central Michigan on October 27th.
Here's Colin Brennan with the game highlights.
The 3-3 Zips were back in action as they take on the Chippewas of Central Michigan in what would be a very sloppy game. The game got off on the right track for the Zips as Van Edwards broke off a 40-yard run that would take Akron to midfield. Cato Nelson would look to find Newman Williams for the open touchdown, but the ball would go through his hands. Cato then decides to use his feet and finds a gap and rushes the ball to the Chips' 15-yard line. Two plays later, and Newman Williams finds redemption, making the catch for the Zips' first score of the game. Central Michigan looked to answer back with a running game of their own as Romello Roth takes the handoff and keeps his legs churning, refusing to go down. The Zips defense cut their drive short though as Brendan Williams pops the ball loose for a fumble and recovery for Akron. Speedster Quadarius Smith takes the handoff 11 yards to bring the Zips closer to a score. Cato takes a shot down the field, but the pass is off to end the first quarter, and things remain the same as he again looks to bomb it downfield, but misses the mark once more. However, Nick Gasser is able to put the ball between the uprights on a 43-yard field goal attempt. The Zips would get the ball back, but their drive would stall, leading to Nick Gasser to once again show off his leg strength as he punts the ball down to the Chips' 4-yard line. Looking to overcome the deficit, Central Michigan finally gets into Zip territory, but the defense would show up again on the sack from Walter Brady. On the punt recovery, Jeremiah Knight reverses field to pick up a solid gain, getting the ball just past the Zips' own 40-yard line. Andre Williams receives the pass from Cato Nelson and dodges a defender before being brought down. Then, on the read option, Cato finds a seam and jukes a couple of defenders to get the Zips within 10 yards of the goal line. However, the ball is then fumbled by running back Keandre White in what would be a consistent problem for the Zips this game. The Zips would once again regain the ball, and Andre Williams once again makes a diving catch to move the chains. Van Edwards then takes the handoff to add to his rushing total. As he bounces back inside, he beats defenders into the end zone to push the Zips lead 17-0. Again with the ball, the Zips keep up the pressure with Brian Ranke catching and running the ball to midfield. This drive would take a crazy turn though, as the ball is snapped but handled by Cato, who tries to make a play only to fumble the ball, and the Chippewas are all over it. As the defense stood, they settled for a field goal and got themselves on the board. Looking to continue their comeback, Central Michigan regains the ball but is stuffed again for more pressure by the defensive line. Then on a throw that was almost intercepted, Ja'Cory Sullivan takes the ball and gets to the 15-yard line before he is tackled and flipped. A few plays later, and quarterback Tony Poljan is in on the QB sneak to cut the Zips lead to just a touchdown. As if things couldn't get worse for the Zips, they fumbled again for the third time on this carry by Michael Traylor Bennett and is once again recovered by Central Michigan. In scoring distance, Holgen pulls the ball and gets to the Zips' 5-yard line, but is stopped from going any further. In an effort to cut the lead once more, the Chips go for a field goal, but is wide left and bounces off the upright. The Zips then proceed to run the ball and the clock out as they put another W in the win column, as they take this game 17-10 and move to 4-3 on the season.
On Thursday, November 1st, the Zips then hosted the Northern Illinois Huskies at InfoCision Stadium.
And here with the highlights is my co-host, Tyler Gunter.
It was a whiteout for your University of Akron Zips, as on this cold and rainy Thursday night, they looked to win over the Northern Illinois Huskies. Vegas odds had the Huskies at -6.5 going into this match, with the over-under of 37 points. Akron's opening drive was short with just one first down, but it had a great punt to place Northern Illinois all the way at their own 15-yard line. However, Northern Illinois was able to travel all the way downfield and set them up for a 19-yard touchdown pass. On the next drive for the Zips, quarterback Cato Nelson rolled out on a play action and threw the ball downfield for the catch near the Northern Illinois 20-yard line. Akron would face a fourth down and attempt a field goal that unfortunately missed. Next time the Zips got the ball, they looked to air it out again and just missed. However, the Akron receiving corps stood out all game, making tremendous catches and helping get the ball downfield. On this drive, quarterback Cale Nelson threw 3 straight receptions to Andre Williams, the last one for 22 yards and the touchdown. The Zips tied up the game against the Huskies 7-7. The Huskies would be right back at it. Akron was called for pass interference, which set up the Huskies for a touchdown on the very next play, making the score now 14-7 Northern Illinois. Akron's offense continued to struggle, but once again the wide receiver corps saved the day with this 45-yard completion on a 3rd and 13. Following that, Andre Williams went up and came down with a spectacular catch, keeping the drive alive and progressing downfield. Akron would score a field goal on this drive, making the score now Northern Illinois 14, Akron 10. The Huskies drove downfield and scored another touchdown on a 6-play, 65-yard drive, leaving the Zips down 14 at the half with a score of 24-10. At the start of the 3rd quarter, Northern Illinois drove downfield in 10 plays and kicked another field goal, putting them up by 17. Akron's next drive had wide receiver Andre Williams show off by making this incredible one-handed grab, giving the Zips a first down. Later on that drive, on a 3rd and 9, Cato Nelson was able to escape a collapsing pocket and pick up a first down and more with his feet, running out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Akron again got close but no cigar thanks to Northern Illinois' defense, and they had to kick a field goal, making the score 27-13 Huskies. Thanks to back-to-back personal fouls against the Huskies, the Zips would advance down the field and score a touchdown, putting the score 27-20. The Huskies' next drive resulted in a fumble down on their own side of the field that was recovered by Akron at the 8-yard line. However, to tie the game, they would need to bring on new quarterback Alex Ramart, as Cato Nelson was out for the rest of the game due to an ankle injury. On 2nd and goal, Ramart threw a beautiful pass to number 3 Quadarius Smith for the touchdown. The Zips came back and were about to tie the game with this extra point. However, it was blocked and returned by the Huskies for the defensive point after, making the score now 29-26 Northern Illinois. This is what really killed the Zips offensively. That mistake took away all the momentum that the Zips had just garnered and gave it right back to the Huskies. Akron's defense stepped it up big time in the second half. They got the ball back into the hands of the offense, but Ramart threw a pick 6 on the very next offensive drive, making the score now 36-26 Huskies. The Zips were unable to get anything going after that, and Northern Illinois would run the clock out to end the game. The Zips will head to Ypsilanti, Michigan for their second-to-last road game of the season to take on the Eastern Michigan Eagles.
Their leading rusher on the season is Shaq Van. The senior tailback has already over 500 yards on the season and has been a problem for other teams that they have faced. Their junior quarterback, Mike Glass III, is also a dual threat, as he is second on the team in passing and second on the team in rushing.
Now, the Eagles have been playing with two quarterbacks all season, senior Tyler Weigers and junior Mike Glass III. This can be pretty difficult, though, for the rest of the offense to play with, as each quarterback is built differently and they have their own preferred style of play.
The Zips are also struggling to get the ball moving on the ground. Van Edwards, the junior tailback, has had his woes this season and only has around 300 rushing yards, averaging 40 yards per game. Akron needs to get something going on the ground if they want to beat the Eagles.
The record between these two sides is 19-12, with the Zips leading the all-time series. In their last meeting in 2015, Akron won on the road 47-21. This should be a manageable game for the Zips as they try to earn bowl eligibility.
Well, that's all, folks. Make sure to follow us on social media for all your Zips coverage.
See you next time, and as always, remember,
Go Zips!
This program was produced by ZTV at the University of Akron. To find out how you can make Emmy-winning media, visit the UA School of Communication online. ZTV. Make media. Make a difference.